One day after the government issued an urgent letter advising consumers to take immediate action to fix exploding airbags, there was no apparent urgency on the nation's auto safety website. A search feature for recalled cars didn't work. A separate page listing affected cars was inaccurate, including vehicles not involved, and callers to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, were put on hold.
They are designed to save lives, but this week millions of car owners have been urged to get their airbags repaired immediately. And once again, the consumer has to wonder what's being done to check and double-check things like this to make sure they don't happen. And people are wondering if their car is going to be next on any recall list. All right, welcome back to MidPoint. The car coach, the racer, the person who knows more about cars than the guy at the local auto parts store who wouldn't know the proper gap for a spark plug from where to find the local Gap clothing store. Pedal to the metal with Lauren Fix.
That's great. That's really awesome. Thank you for having me back.
And not only that, but you know as well as I do, there are many people out there right now who are just not old enough to even know what a gap on a spark plug really is.
Well, points and plugs are like, plugs, spark plugs? Are there even half those anymore?
No idea, but there you go. All right, let's get down to the gap here. And there's got to be a huge gap here with what's going on with NHTSA. This is scary. We had first heard that 4.7 faulty airbags had been potentially found. 4.7 million car owners. Now you tell us that it's now almost 8 million that are here. This has almost doubled in less than a day. Lauren, what's going on here? I mean, this is getting a little ridiculous here. This can kill people.
Absolutely. Yesterday afternoon, I did a national news feed. It was 4.7 million. Later in the day, it was up to 5.7. Before I went to bed, I just hit reload on the NHTSA site, and they're up to 16 million. Now it's ridiculous. Why don't we just every car go back? It's getting to that point. So the numbers just keep rising and rising. I think we're at 8.7 million right now. It keeps adjusting itself. Also not on the list, but has been requested in the past is Subaru. So if you have an early Subaru legacy, it's worth contacting your dealer. Now, the interesting thing about this is made by Takata, which makes airbags. They've had a $235 million loss. Probably not a great company to invest in, and not at this time anyhow. But what's interesting is Toyota has said, we are going to stay with this brand. Common sense tells me, are you kidding? It's time to find another supplier. However, this supplier has supplied over the years multiple different manufacturers, BMW for 2 years and General Motors and Chrysler even at some point. So the list is constantly changing because now they're realizing Takata makes a lot of airbags for a lot of manufacturers.
Well, but there's something else to consider here. Takata's been making airbags for a long time. They have been, for the most part, safe. All of a sudden now here, we're running close to 6, 7, 8, 9 million airbags that are bad and that can actually injure people. Does this tell us then that Takata is a manufacturer that's using cheap parts, cheaper labor? They're trying to sneak something by here and get away with it so they can make a buck?
You would like to think that. That would make common sense, but actually it's the storage of the airbags. They were stored in moist warehouses. Now, when you live down south in Florida and the Carolinas, humidity is a normal thing. Hey, I've been in Oklahoma City at 100 degrees, and it's humidity at 100%, and it's brutal. However, when you're down in like the Samoa Islands and Philippines and those type of areas, we have humidity over a lot of this country. Unless you're in Arizona where you're least likely to be affected by this. The moisture gets into the airbags when it's folded up. So they don't realize this is not happening immediately. It didn't happen in '02. It's happening now down the road because the moisture is actually causing the unit to discharge without an accident. So this is a mixture of information that different news outlets are reporting. We are reporting the facts here because you have me on your team. The fact is these airbags, we've had 4 deaths. They've deployed with no notice, no accident, sitting at a traffic light, driving down the road. One person went to the hospital. Somebody thought they got hit with an IED. It was that bad. Pieces of shrapnel from the metal frame holding it into the steering wheel. If you have any of these cars, you know someone that has one of these cars, you see someone in a parking lot, this is much worse than the GM ignition recall. Please tell them, take it to the dealer. And right now we have a couple senators saying the same thing I've been saying for weeks now. These manufacturers should bite the bullet for good customer, just relations, just for PR, and give these people some form of a loaner car for free. Because the truth is, removing that airbag, like NHTSA is suggesting, is not just against their own federal law, it's totally stupid because you've now taken away the passive safety system, which works in conjunction with not just your seatbelt, but your windshield. The windshield is actually part of the safety system. The airbag actually bounces off of it during an accident. If you're missing one of those 3 pieces and you have an accident, it's not going to be a good situation, which opens up tons of legalities, not just against Takata, but against the dealer, against NHTSA, which good luck getting that one won. But still, it's going to be a lot of lawsuits.
I did not expect us to do this whole segment on this. However, there's so many other questions here, and this is such a big story now. We're talking cars that are Toyotas, Hondas, Nissans, Mazdas, BMWs, General Motors cars as well.
Chrysler, Subaru, yep.
So here we have all these. Now, simple question here, a couple minutes I got left. We're talking about something that everybody has in their car. You're buying a new car or you're buying a used car. I can't stand, I still don't call them pre-owned. They're used cars. How do you know, though, when you buy them, even if it's brand new coming out of the factory, that it's good? It's not as if they all undergo inspections. It's not as if every used car gets an airbag inspection. So how do you know that you're getting one that's going to work?
That's a great question. Buyer beware is number one. So how do you protect yourself? Whether you're buying a used car or a certified pre-owned car, first thing I would do is find an ASE certified technician, which I am one of, and have them put it up on the rack, pay the $150. This is not a time to be a cheapskate. Have them check out the vehicle for anything that's wrong with it. At the same time, it's your responsibility to call the dealer. Any dealer, call a Toyota, Ford, whatever it might be, and say, hey, listen, I'm looking at a car. Are there any recalls on this? Have they been performed? And if not, get them done before making the purchase. If the vehicle has problems, you'll know in advance, and don't be afraid to walk away. But what's really critical, one thing I do want to point out to everybody, no matter who you are, no matter what you're driving, whether it's from a Kia to a Bentley, it's very, and none are bad, they're all great cars. You want to not be any closer than 12 inches from the airbag to the center of your chest. As from right here to your airbag, no less than 12 inches. That will actually save you in lives. If you're too close, you can actually break a chest bone. And I promise you, I've seen it happen, not to me, but to other people, and I will promise you it's very painful. So make sure to set your seat properly so you can still see out and control all of the steering wheel and the pedals.
All right, so it's a note then to the people down on South Beach in Florida again. Do not pull it so your chair is 3 inches away from the steering wheel. This is bad. All right, well, unfortunately, look, time's all gone here. We had so much else to talk about. We'll have to save it until next week. But this is important stuff. The NHTSA website, at least get on them, get on your dealer, find them, and find out what's going on. Also, go to thecarcoach.com. Lauren will talk about it. She'll talk about it here as well. LaurenFix.com, I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get it right. It's all right. I still remember the old website. So LaurenFix.com.
It still goes there. It still goes there.
There you go. Okay. Lauren, thanks so much. See you next week.
Thanks, Ed.
All right. Later on this hour, how not to pick your best designated driver on MidPoint.